So hi there, everybody. My name is Josh Davey. I think I know quite a few people on the calls. I won't bore you, but I'm the head of automation at DigPacks, as Karen has flagged. And today we're going to be looking at two referral processing solutions that we've built in collaboration with Berkshire Healthcare. You can see there's many Berkshire Healthcare folks on the call, so good to have you here. For this first one, we are looking at referral migrations for the integrated pain and spinal service team. And bit of context, Berkshire Healthcare for the iPass team had a scenario where external GP-based referrals were coming through into the electronic referral service, but the trust required them to be moved into their EPR of choice, Rio, for processing. So we ended up devising a solution um, to solve this. Originally, the process was demanding around about 15 minutes per referral to transfer. So this is the process of taking it out of ERS and putting it into Rio, and this was being done by admin staff members. The volume was fairly high. They were looking at around about 14,000 referrals for just that one service per annum. And given the nature of the process itself, multiple sets of eyes were necessary to avoid any human-related errors. Anytime you've got a highly repetitive manual task, that's something you need to be cognizant of. So in terms of the solution then, it polled ERS looking for new referrals that had come through, and it was looking against, I think it's about 7 different RAS pots inside of ERS. And upon finding a new referral, it would work to download all of the corresponding attachments and also retrieve any triage details out of ERS. With that data available, then it moved over to Rio and navigated into the patient record, created a referral, transferred it to the corresponding team, added a progress note, which isn't listed here. Then it would go into Envoy Post and create a waitlist letter for that referral and that patient before finally going back into ERS and cancelling the original referral out of the ERS system. So the end state was that they'd had a referral that came into ERS, it's been entirely lifted and shifted into Rio, and the original referral's cancelled in ERS. So it's in a state that somebody can start working it. In terms of the benefits then, as you can imagine, with 14,000 referrals per annum, there's a fairly significant time save, especially since this was being done manually in the first instance. It worked on a priority-based system, helping to ensure that SLAs were met without fail. Bots don't take breaks, they don't take time off, they don't take leave. So any backlogs were kind of managed by these bots, just working 24/7 around the clock. And due to the nature of automation, accuracy was baked in. If one of these digital workers or these bots performing this process had noticed an issue, it would stop, flag it, and it would then be picked up by a human. I do have a quick video that's just going to give you a bit of a run through about what this digital worker actually does. I'm going to play it. I'm going to apologize in advance though the music is a little cheesy. So I think as it's flagging here, this is the first stage of the solution. And again, for those of you that aren't familiar with RPA or what it does, it effectively works to emulate the actions of a human user. So this digital worker is currently looking in ERS, polling across the different RAS pots, and yeah, very good. Polling the different RAS pots, looking for new referrals that have come through. And you can see it's just found a new one that's come through. Again, to emphasize, these are, of course, test referrals. There's no live data being shown. So again, I'm going to pause it here so you can see it. much like a human user would, going through, and for each of the attachments that are available inside of the referral, it is just downloading those attachments, saving them locally so that they can be transferred. It will then remove them thereafter from the local file system. If I just keep playing. So just a few things to point out here. As it's going through, we can see it navigate into the patient record, which happens around here. Once it's inside that patient record, the digital worker is performing a multi-point check. So it's searched via the NHS number. It's then cross-referencing with the patient surname here as well as their date of birth, ensuring that we've pulled out the correct NHS number and that we have accessed the appropriate patient record. If any of that wasn't met, the bot would flag it. But again, just a bit of flavor for the types of safety checks that are put in place with regards to these digital workers. And then as it goes through, you can see it navigating through to the attachment section, uploading the corresponding documents that have been pulled out of ERS, and then it moves over to the next stage, which is creating the referral. So on this bit, I'm just going to pause it quickly. You can see it going through here and actually creating that referral. All of the data that's sourced here effectively comes out of ERS from that referral that was picked up there. And following that, then it transfers it to the appropriate team. So that one probably looked a little odd, but what the bot is doing is he's using a piece of software. This is actually a desktop application this time called Envoy Post, and this is used to send snail mail, for lack of a better term. But it gets a template out of Rio for the waitlist letter, and then it's loading it into Envoy Post, and the relevant replacing has already happened in that letter template based on the patient record, and then it's adding it in and sending it across, and then this will automatically distribute that waitlist letter to the patient. Just going to pause it there, but the final portion then was that part where it goes back into ERS, closes out the process, and cancels the originating referral that came through. I'm not going to go through the rest of the video. I can certainly share it separately, but the final portion is just talking through the benefits that I've already gone through. Before I go on to the next one, I can see there was a question in the chat. Is it okay, Karen, if I just answer that quickly? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, prerequisites of a web interface for automation to sit in place of a user. It's a really good question. I haven't got any collateral right now that talks to the specific prereqs associated with getting set up for RPA. Of course, there's governance and InfoSec elements that need to be considered as well. But in terms of licensing and infrastructure, you'll require a machine that's going to be used to run these digital workers, and that could be a virtual machine or a server. And you'll also need Power Automate Process licensing, which will allow you to use unattended RPA. And the way it works is you will configure these, and Power Platform will send requests to that digital worker in order to run the processes that have been configured. Certainly one we can talk about a bit further. Matthew, if you do have specific questions, feel free to reach out directly. But I'll move on to technical option of the website. Oh, understood. More than the project wrap. Maybe one to come back to. I'll finish this up and then we can chat separately. But the next one I'm going to look at is the DOMS physio referral solution. This one is similar to iPass in terms of what it does. However, it focuses on a different service and has a different ingestion mechanism. So this one isn't pulled from ERS. This one is actually picked up differently. Yeah, from a human perspective, the DOMS physio referral piece required around about 20 minutes of processing time, and this was across 6,000 referrals per year. And this one is quite unique in that it had multiple different formats that the referrals could come in as, which meant that it was fairly complex to tackle from an automation perspective. So as part of the implementation, a form was created which allowed for the data to be provided in a structured manner for us to start automating from. And this accounted for about 50% of the submissions that came through into the domiciliary service. The remaining 50% then unfortunately remained as PDF submissions into a centralized mailbox. But fortunately, Power Platform also has an answer to that. So we were able to leverage AI Builder to pull out the key data points from those referrals as they came through in PDF format, so that we had two sets of inputs. One was the form, nice and structured, easy to work with, and the other then was the post AI Builder data point extraction piece, which gave us what we need from those PDFs. So at this point, we've got two different data sources, but both are workable from an automation standpoint. Once the automation had pulled out the necessary data or got the relevant data, it then went into Rio, added a progress note, and then created and transferred the referral again to the relevant team. So in terms of the benefits from this one, it's very similar to the iPass solution. A lot of these referral processes are similar in terms of their benefits, at least from an RPA standpoint. So there's a significant time saving. We also saw an 85% reduction in terms of processing time, and this was robot processing time versus human processing time. And SLA adherence, as mentioned before, is enforced, and we had two separate work streams after automating this digital form and PDF input, as opposed to the myriad that were there originally. I do have another video. Unfortunately, it's got similarly cheesy music. I'm not going to play this one all the way through, though. I'm just going to skim through it. So you can see here, this is an example of the form that was created and filled in and submitted. And following that, then this portion is showing what the robot actually does. This one does go into a Gov website and look up the referral's postcode, referrer's postcode, so that we can determine the locality associated with that person when creating the referral in Rio. Following that, again, navigating into Rio, authenticating with a virtual smart card, selecting the appropriate role, and then it would go ahead and access the patient record. Again, doing much the same checks I talked about previously, 3-point check, NHS number, date of birth, and surname. From there, it would go ahead and create a new referral. And once it's done that, it would upload the document, the corresponding document that we got from the email that came through. It would add a progress note, and following that, it would complete.